You're on the Bible Forum. It's Sunday night, first Sunday in May, I believe, 2020. This is our Sunday sermon segment. I've entitled it, Trusting in Riches or in God? The destiny of the world is now in the hands of 6 central banks. The Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the PBOC of China, the Bank of Japan, and the Swiss SNB. These central banks have totally corrupted and destroyed the financial system by printing money and extending credit that doesn't exist. Mayer Amschel Rothschild said over 200 years ago, "Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes the laws." Central banks are now panicking and are creating trillions of dollars, trillions of euros, and so forth. Add to that the additional bank lending and government debt, and we are tens of trillions of dollars in debt. Look at the 6 biggest banks mentioned before. Their balance sheets have gone up by $3 trillion, from $21 trillion at the end of February 2020 to $24 trillion today, April 30th. That's 2 months. What happened? Well, coronavirus happened, and that's when they started printing money. Back in late July 2019, when the ECB warned the world that something very seriously wrong was about to happen, they said, "We will do whatever it takes." A few weeks later, the Fed started daily repossessions of hundreds of billions of dollars. This was the first time when serious problems in the financial system started. At the end of September 2019, the Fed balance sheet was $3.8 trillion in debt, and today it is $6.6 trillion. It has doubled, has almost doubled, most of which occurred since March 2020. During the same period, that's September 2019 to April 2020, the U.S. debt grew by $2 trillion from 22.7 to 24.7. Now, the Federal Reserve is not stupid. They understand the consequences of their actions. They know they're playing a very dangerous game that could fail at any point. They're also aware that the dollar, since 1971, has fallen 98% in real terms, which is versus gold. Your dollar today is worth only 2% of a 1971 dollar. That's 2 cents. A 1971 family of 5 could live comfortably with one wage earner making $6 an hour, $12,480 a year. That's 4 or 5 times less than today. I know that because that's what I did. By introducing the petrodollar, combined with policing the global financial system, the U.S. has managed to maintain an artificially high value of their currency for decades. But all that's now looks like it's coming to an end. The combination of collapsing oil prices and countries like China and Russia abandoning the dollar bill will start to roll. Also, the unlimited printing that the U.S. has started will soon accelerate as companies and financial institutions default. That will lead to a dollar crash. Currently, stocks are in an up correction. They're doing that in a secular downtrend, which started in February. The risk is to the downside, and anyone invested in the stock market is likely to lose the majority of his wealth in coming months and years. Bonds are extremely vulnerable as credit deteriorates on a daily basis. All debt will come under pressure, including sovereign debt. Central banks will do what they can to hold rates down, but in the end, the market will win as bonds sell off and rates climb rapidly. And gold? Well, gold and silver will be the obvious winner as the currency debasement accelerates. Gold adjusted for real inflation would have to be at $18,100 an ounce in order to be equal to the 1980 top of $850 per ounce. Hyperinflation adds many zeros to the gold price, even though that price is meaningless since it only reflects the debasement of other currencies. Hyperinflation is not the result of demand-led increases in prices, but a result of collapsing currencies. So look for more money to be printed. And all that begs the question, where are we going? Well, humanly, we're going to pay more for less in the future. The economy will become weaker and our buying power will erode. As it continues, if it continues, we'll be paying huge prices for ordinary items. But that's always been the case. Automobiles cost between $5,000 and $6,000 in the 1960s. But it's going to get a lot worse at the end. Revelation chapter 6 reads, "And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances, and in his hand, a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Today, world leaders such as UK Prime Minister Gordon Brown are issuing calls for building a global society. The stage is being set for the most infamous dictator in human history to seize power. He's known as the Antichrist, and the Bible states that in the last days this man will come to control the world's economic activity, Revelation chapter 13. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. In fact, he will ultimately exercise complete power over every person on earth. Verse 7, "And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations." This is why the current economic crisis is of dire consequence to the people of the world. We cannot know for sure whether this particular crisis will give rise to the Antichrist. But we can be certain that the calls for increased global cooperation, global government, and governmental power over free markets are setting the stage for a single man to seize control of the entire earth. However, while most of the world anxiously looks toward government for answers to the current economic turmoil, Christians can move forward with bold confidence. Why? Well, because the Bible provides us with the guiding principles for curing this economic ailment. If the rest of the world had followed, or would dare to follow, biblical principles in its financial dealings, then the current economic crisis would be a non-event. While most of the world grew drunk on the excesses of debt, the Bible issued dire warnings of its pitfalls with principles such as Proverbs 22. Be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debts. If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee? Romans 13, owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Proverbs 22:7, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. The conclusion here is that hyperinflation is not a concern right now. The world is in the midst of a deflationary spiral, similar to that which caused the Great Depression. And this period will probably last several months or years. Governmental debt is at an all-time high, while production is at an all-time low. A sizable percentage of folks who had a job prior to this pandemic may not get their jobs back. And if they do, it may take several months, waiting for the crisis to be completely over. Nevertheless, Christians should not be overly concerned in terms of dealing with the ills of this world. While we should make wise provision for the future, if we first pursue the kingdom of heaven above all else, then we will be capable of easily enduring any number of economic conditions, from deflation to inflation to hyperinflation. A life which glorifies Jesus Christ should not be overly concerned with the fleeting value of earthly wealth. The Apostle Paul found that he could thrive in any condition. Philippians 4, beginning of verse 11, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. How did he learn that? He says, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed, both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. Conclusion, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Our faith should not be in stock markets and pensions and job security. Our faith should not be in the provisions we've made or the gold and silver we've hoarded in anticipation of an economic collapse. Our faith should be in Christ alone. For this faith is the foundation of all the wealth we will ever have. Proverbs 18:11, the rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall protecting that wealth in his own conceit. 1 Timothy 6:17, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Christians have far more than the riches of this world, far more than the wealthiest of people. We have the riches of Christ. Let our joy and our confidence be in Him, and we will never be disappointed. David wrote in Psalm 37, I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, where our treasure is, there will our heart be also. Make sure your heart is oriented toward God and toward His righteousness. And Jesus said, all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. You know how strong the word shall is? Shall is not just a British form of the word will. Shall means it has to happen. It's going to happen. God is going to take care of His own. So it might really get rough. It won't get so rough you can't make it. And if it ever gets rough enough that Christians can't make it, they'll be gone. Look up.